Welcome, Wizards and Warriors, to the Christmas update. Now, Christmas must have come early because we have a lot of great things in store for you guys on the nice list. We, of course, have the balance changes with a few clarity changes, and then I get to show you the new addition to these 6 cards. And afterwards, I will show you the 5 brand new cards coming for the Christmas update. At the very end of it all, I will be crossing off half of the names on the 100th card document. Merry Christmas, everyone. Starting with some clarity changes, Ice Witch and Medusa both clearly state that they freeze the card they hit or freeze the card that hits them. Of course, if a card is frozen, their ability no longer works. Furthermore, the Ice Witch is now immune to being frozen. Robo Frog now clearly states, add 1 damage for every teammate you have on deck. Magic Change is getting no written change, but now it will duplicate permanent spells across teammates. So you can play on your team and give them all a Champion Spirit. Champion Spirit would be on all the cards. However, if they were to remove the Champion Spirit off of the person who has Magic Change, it will remove it for the entire team. Then we have Broken Mirror. Now when you place it on a card, it will either be the next attack or the last attack that will be reflected. If they've already been hit, it will be the last attack to get reflected. However, if they haven't been hit, then you can play it on them. For instance, you have a card, you can just simply play it on them before they've been hit, and the next thing that hits it will be reflected. You will still take the damage. Now, onto the bigger balance changes. The Island. Now, while in play, at the end of every other turn, it will heal your teammates plus 2 HP. And the turn where you play it, it will heal. So, you play it, at the end of that go, it's going to heal. Then, it's every other go at the end of it. So, you could play more troops, and then it will heal those troops that you just played. Next, we have the Tub. Now, the Tub is going to be immune to all debuffs. That means it cannot be possessed by the King of Ghouls, it cannot take any poison damage, and it cannot be frozen by anything. We have the Thunderstorm. Now you play on a card, and it and their teammates will be affected by it. So if you want it to affect your opponent, you have to play it on your opponent's cards. Afterwards, we have Frankenstein's Monster. Now, every time you fall below 10 HP, you set it back to 9 HP. That way, if you ever heal back above 10, for instance, with the Island, you will get to do your ability again, every single time. And lastly, a pretty big change. Spider Gladiator now has an ability. Anytime you or a teammate charge an attack, you gain 3 damage. So, if I have it and I charge, my base damage will then go from 4 up to 7. And that goes for any of my teammates. If they were to charge an attack, my Spider Gladiator will gain its base damage. Before we take a look at the new cards, we're going to take a look at the new thing that is coming to these 6 cards. It is my pleasure to announce to you guys that for this Christmas update, I have added skins to the game. They have identical stats and abilities, sometimes a different name to their attack, but obviously a new skin. To equip them, simply take the card and slot in the new skin above the other card. As you can see here, now my Snake Goblin is the Gingerbread Snake Goblin with the Baker's Bite. The rest of the skins are as follow. For the Minotaur, you can instead equip Rudolph with Dashing Through the Snow as its attack. For the tree, of course, you can equip the Christmas Tree. For Milk, you can instead have a nice hot chocolate. For the Log of Goblins, instead, you can have the Present of Elves. 1 damage, jingle all the way. And the last skin coming in this update, one of my favorites, is Frost Thorn Protection instead of the Blazing Protection, an ice variant of a fire card. Of course, if you don't want a skin equipped, you can simply go in and take the other piece of paper that is inside and put that one above, being the Minotaur. And vice versa if you want to equip the skin. More skins will be released in future updates. Any ideas for skins, leave in the comments down below. Now, for the new cards. The first Christmas card coming this season is Frosty the Snowman. 9 HP, 2 damage sticks and stones. And on placement, it will freeze all opposing cards for 2 turns. So you'll play it, and at the end of your next go, they will unfreeze. Looking at this scenario, these cards look terrifying and I would not want to play into that, except I would play Frosty the Snowman, and it would freeze all 4 of these cards for 2 turns. That means the turn that I play it, they're frozen. My next turn, they're still frozen. The turn after, they're still frozen, and only at the end of that one, they will all unfreeze. Of course, if the card is frozen, their ability does not work. I can directly attack the Robocrow, Hydra isn't going to gain, Fog Machine's doing nothing, and the Fly is just a fly now. Of course, they can factory reset any of their cards to remove this debuff. Speaking of removing debuffs, the Tub obviously can do that. Any cards that have Ejectacy on it won't be frozen because they are technically not there. Along with that, you can factory reset your Frosty the Snowman, and it will redo its effect as if you had just played it again, which means you'll be able to freeze them for another 2 goes. The same goes if a Chameleon copied the ability of Frosty the Snowman. That turn that it copies the ability is the turn in which it would freeze all opposing cards. The next Christmas card coming is the Gingerbread House. 16 HP is a land card. And when cards hit this, they heal. Opposing cards will heal half of what they deal, but your teammates will heal double what they deal. Putting it simply, Rusty Wizard does 6 damage. If they were to hit the Gingerbread House would take the damage, but the Rusty Wizard would heal double what they just dealt, so they would heal 12 HP from simply attacking the Gingerbread House, eating a little bit of it, but healing a lot of it. Now the Pumpkin Knight, if they were to hit the Gingerbread House, would deal 4 damage, but only heal 2 to themselves. The Gingerbread House will always heal. If you have something like Compound F or the Fog Machine and you miss your attack on the Gingerbread House, you will still heal whatever you are supposed to be healing. That also goes for your opponents too. Furthermore, if they are at 1 HP and you deal 6 damage to it, you will be healing the full 12, even though it could only take 1 more hit. Next up is Snowball Fight. A 2 lifespan spell you'll play on any card, and while active, all of the cards on that team will only be dealing 1 damage. Looking at this, I can play on their team, and Rudolph, or Minotaur, when they attack, they'll only deal 1 damage to everyone because they're in the Snowball Fight. That also goes for literally any card in their team. An Outlaw Cactus is only going to give me 1 damage back to me. That also goes for Poisons or Frostthorn Protection, for instance. They will only deal 1 damage back to me as long as it is their team that played it. Furthermore, things like Wick and Remote Explosive, when they blow up, assuming the Snowball Fight is still here, it will only deal 1 damage when they blow up. Like mentioned, that's only if it's active. Spell Vaccine, Tub, Factory Reset, other items will negate the effects of the Snowball Fight. This also goes for cards on 0 damage. If you play the Snowball Fight on their team, they can now do 1 damage. So the Jack-in-the-Box can do 1 damage. Although the damage will be set to 1, that's only when they attack. So if there's a Snowball Fight on your team, you can still charge, and you'll be charging whatever your base damage is. It is only when you deal damage to another card that that damage gets set to 1. So if you're in a Snowball Fight, you can charge what you normally would be charging. The second to last Christmas card coming today is the Nutcracker. 7 HP. When dealing damage, your damage will be equal to the difference between your HP and your target's HP. Looking at the example, if the Nutcracker was to attack the Present of Elves, that's 20 HP and 7 HP, the difference being 13, so it will deal 13 damage to the Present of Elves, putting it at 7 HP. Now, if it was to attack the Element of Flattrip at 10 HP, the difference is only 3, which will also put it at 7 HP. Of course, it's the current HP, so if I was to use Ancient Curse to give me the 20 HP and give them 7 HP, I could then do the difference between 20 and 8 HP being 12 damage, all to Zeus. When attacking with something like the Table or the Ambush, where multiple cards are attacking the same thing, the Nutcracker will be doing the difference between their HP and target's HP just before everybody attacks, because they're all attacking at the same time. So if it was a full HP and they ambush, Nutcracker would be doing the difference between 7 and 20, and then these 2 cards would be dealing that damage. The last card coming this Christmas is the Jolly Fat Man himself. Father Christmas, King of the North Pole, it's Santa. 12 HP, 4 damage, ho ho ho. And any card you hit will be frozen until they get hit again. Against Thanksgiving Turkey and the Pumpkin Knight, Santa shows why he has the better holiday. He can hit one of them and freeze them until they next get hit. Of course, if they're frozen, their ability stops working and they cannot be used. In this scenario, Santa is able to hit something like the cemetery. The damage will of course go to the Christmas tree, but the cemetery will be frozen until it next gets hit. Keyword there being hit, I'm able to do 0 damage to the cemetery, which counts as it being hit. Even if I don't take the damage, as long as I've been attacked, it will unfreeze. Which means cards like Cushion Blow and the Fly, you can block the damage, or not take any damage at all, and you will still get unfrozen as long as you've been hit again. Looking at these, of course, the damage is done first, then they are frozen. So if they were to hit Outlaw Cactus Light Skeleton, he would take damage back, then they would be frozen until they next get hit, which means when they next get hit, the damage will not be reflected because their ability has stopped working. But when you hit them, it goes damage, then they are frozen. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. I'm going to be crossing off half of these 100 names. I will cross out a row at a time, every other row. As you can now see, 13 out of the 25 rows have been crossed out, leaving only 48 names left. Over half of them have been crossed out. The document will be in the description again and updated to match. Happy hunting, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the biggest update we've ever seen. Now, in the comments below, tell me which one of these skins is your favorite and which one of these new cards is also your favorite. Any skin ideas, please leave in the comments below. And Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good nog.